Hi guys, welcome to Grubb for Thought, which is our monthly video cast that we do, brought to you by the team of Grubbable. And just look at the team of Grubbable today. Everyone's in red, everyone's looking so lovely, so festive. Oh my God, we have the three M's. Mary, Myra, and Morella, they're all wearing hats, and I'm the spoiled sport. I don't really have a red hat, guys. I'm sorry, but I kind of made up for it. So I think most people can know what the theme of this video is going to be. It's all things holidays and all things Christmas. Yay! So it's going to be a fun show. We're going to talk about how to do Christmas right and well and healthy and enjoy at the same time. So tis the season to be jolly, right? So it's going to be all fun stuff. So we're going to definitely talk about a few quick hacks that we can do with our recipes to keep things healthy, local, and natural. How to kind of stay away from the cookie monster this time of the year. It's all about sugar and dessert, and I think we should indulge, right? We really should indulge. So it's not going to be one of those shows that talks about cookies are bad for you. So we're going to be talking about how we can make the most out of the season, eat well, and eat right at the same time. So are you guys excited?
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's go quickly introduce ourselves. I feel like we've only done one of these before, so we need to introduce ourselves every time just so people familiarize themselves with us. So go ahead. Mary, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I'm Mary. I'm the community manager for Grubbable in Detroit, and I just get to interact with the restaurants and do some marketing and be on videos like this.
Awesome. We have Mary, and then we have Myra next. I know. For those of you thinking, it's very confusing for us in Grubbable as well. A lot of times emails meant for one end up going to the other because they have the same letters in their name as well. So Myra is our rock star joining in from Chicago. Myra, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Myra. I'm the Chicago community manager for Grubbable. I just came on the team about 2 months ago, so still pretty new, but really excited to be a part of the team, and it's been great.
Yeah, and we love Myra. She's been doing such good stuff for us from Chicago, from the Windy City. And then we have Morella. Hi
guys.
Morella.
Hello, I'm Morella. I am Grubbable's in-house nutritionist. I also teach tennis over here in Detroit too, so hit me up if you want a tennis lesson.
There you go. She's super fit, and then she has a background in health and nutrition, so she'll keep us on check.
Perfect.
Yeah. And hi guys, I'm Sahana. I'm the CEO of Grubbable, and I love this team. I love everything that Grubbable stands for, and I love to do fun stuff like this with this team, with our wonderful, wonderful team. So last time we did a video cast for Thanksgiving, and we talked about recipes and good, how to kind of cut down on few things, what are the traps that we could fall into, how to avoid them. I think today's is also going to be similar, but we're going to talk about a lot more, about how to really enjoy Christmas, how to throw a party in style, and how to decorate, and how to make the most out of it, and how to use local to do that. So before we get started, I just realized that we talk so much about Grubbable and local. I think we should really talk about what Grubbable is and what it stands for. So we here are the Grubbable team, and there are more of us. You can go check out our website. It's not just the four of us. But Grubbable is a local food app. We are a network that connects people like you, me, and everybody else with restaurants that serve locally sourced and natural food. So basically, on our app, you can find 140 restaurants that serve all locally sourced, which means within 400 miles. It's usually even local than that. It's usually food that's picked the day before and sold at Eastern Market. And then natural, when we say natural, it means sustainable, organic, natural, no pesticides, no chemicals, and non-GMO, and ethically raised as well. So those are the kind of foods that you'll find on the Grubbable app. We also have a bunch of farms and restaurants that actually source to these restaurants. So you can literally see where your food came from, And on each restaurant on the app, you can actually see what ingredients are local, what ingredients are natural, and what ingredients are both. You can actually go to our standards page. That'll show up right here on this video on grubbable.com to see the kind of standards that the restaurants have to meet to be on the Grubbable app. Not just that, we are trying to not just make local food accessible, we're also trying to make local food affordable, because every time you use Grubbable, you get a 10% discount on your meal. So the team of Grubbable is really passionate about the local food movement. We believe that if each one of us makes a few changes in our life, I think we can really eat healthy, eat better, and support the local economy, support the local communities, support local businesses like all the local restaurants, the local farms and artisans that go the extra mile to actually do things right by not using pesticides, by not polluting the soil, by trying to correct the food chain, basically. And that's what we are trying to do with Grubbable. Stay tuned with us. We're right now in the process of doing a lot more, because we really believe in growing the local food movement. We just don't want to be an app that connects people with restaurants and farms. We want to be an app that stands for supporting the local economy and the local community. Does it make sense, guys?
Absolutely.
Did I cover everything?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So before we move forward, I would like to take another 5 minutes. Trust me, this is not a spiel or anything, but it's just our way of educating more people about understanding why local. Because of late, I've seen that a lot of people think and kind of know to some extent that local is good for you, natural is good for you. But how many of us truly know why it's good for us, right? So we thought before we actually start talking about how to make use of local and natural for Christmas, I think it's important to know why local matters so much. There is a blog that actually talks about exactly this on grubbable.com. You'll again find the link right here. But I'd like to take this opportunity to kind of just quickly go over why local matters. So with local, the USDA calls anything that qualifies as local is something that has traveled not farther than 400 miles. So it's food that's raised within 400 miles. But even that is like the top limit, because most of the time it's basically urban farmers, neighborhood farmers, CSA, co-ops. It's basically food that's grown in your neighborhood, and it's sold, like it's picked the day before and it's sold to you the next day at the farmer's market, and it's on your plates by that afternoon, hopefully. So basically it doesn't get closer from farm to table than that. It's picked at its freshest of its nutrition. That's right. Marella, am I right about that?
Yes, and with that, like you said, local at the top bracket is 400 miles away. So, I mean, the quicker that the food is picked off of the vine and that you get it on your table, the more nutrients it's going to have, the more vitamins it's going to have, the denser it's going to be in nutrients, so it's a healthier product that you're getting, and obviously fresher.
Yeah, and I also read that on an average, USDA actually gave this data that food travels, for the past 100 years, food has been traveling 1,300 miles an hour, an average, before it reaches our table. So can you imagine how much adulteration and contamination food is exposed to if it's traveling 1,300 miles before it gets to us?
I prefer not to think about that.
I know, right?
Which is why I go to Eastern Market.
I know. I'm so sorry. No, we don't need to scare anybody. Sorry, Mary?
Oh, I just feel like that shouldn't have to be necessary to happen.
Yeah, and that's one way of correcting it. And there are enough avenues today. There are farmers markets, there are apps like Grubbable that connect you to resources that provide locally sourced food. So we shouldn't have to deal with that anymore. Apart from distance, I think we forget there's another quality about local food and organic food or natural food. We don't want to use the word organic because sometimes farmers have to be certified organic, but there are many farmers without the certification that actually do completely organic practices. They just don't have the money or they're not able to afford the certification, which is why we use the terms natural or sustainable. It's actually food with integrity. That's the term we use here at Grubbable. It's eating with purpose. It's basically recognizing the fact that there's so much integrity with our farmers and artisans who actually believe in doing things right. It's easier, trust me, it's easier for them to cut corners and use pesticides and chemicals because it's actually expensive for them to do, to go the whole 9 yards and actually do it right. So it's with this, we're really recognizing and encouraging local farms who don't mind taking on the additional cost as long as they provide product of quality, which doesn't have, chemicals that could affect our body, that could affect the soil. And once the soil is contaminated, it takes a long time to reverse, the adverse effects that the soil has gone through. So I don't think we'd always talk about air pollution, water pollution. I think soil pollution is something that's always forgotten about. And another thing is, local food movement is really all about the community. With this, we are trying to really encourage local restaurants that are not chains, national chains. These are all local restaurants that came out of people living in the area who wanted to, build a restaurant that provided really good quality food. So we are trying to support local businesses, local restaurants, local farms, artisans. And by doing this, what happens is the dollars remain local. So it helps the local economy. Ever since the local food movement came into Detroit, the Detroit economy has improved so much. I don't think enough is said about that, right? We always talk about manufacturing and so many other things. The food industry is forgotten. And the last thing that really matters, and again, some people who are listening to this might think that this is a stretch, but trust me, it's not. Why local and organic or natural matter is because the environment matters, right? This is so much greener. It's doing all things right. It's really trying to reverse all the adverse effects that's happened in our food industry for the past 100 years, and we are now trying to make things right. It's not too late. It's never too late to make things right. So that kind of hope that explains why local is so important and why natural and sustainable food is so important. And I know local and sustainable is always associated with expensive, which is why with companies like Grubbable and so many of our restaurant partners, our farmers, so many of our other partners like Mit and Crate and Bundle, these are all guys who believe in, Michigan made or Midwest made or Chicago made, and they actually give out discounts so that more people come and buy their stuff, buy and appreciate the local aspect of our living. And so in our own way, we're trying to make local accessible and affordable. Okay. Anything else to add, guys?
So I'm going to chime in here and say that was awesome. 4 minutes of Sahana there. I mean, you can really tell how passionate she is about Grubbable and just local and sustainable foods in general. So I had to sit back and take it all in and listen too. Yeah, I mean, everything you said is dead on, of course. Like you said, you can find it in the blog on grubbable.com if you want to have a little bit more information about it. But you pretty much covered all the bases there. And, like you said, too, it is cost effective. I think in this day and age, it's probably equally as easy to go down to Eastern Market or like a local market, like for instance in Royal Oak, and get your fruits and vegetables there than it is to say go to one of your larger mainstream grocery stores too.
Yeah, I think that is true.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry, guys. That was the last time I'm going to go on this long spiel.
No, we love it. I love it.
I got promise that you guys know
also,
I love
you said that a lot of people might not believe or buy into the fact that it helps the environment, but actually it's been shown that the number one thing that one individual person can do to help the environment is change how they eat. And part of that is eating less meat, but also just eating meat that is sourced from local places that are grass-fed and sustainably managed and things like that, and eating more local produce and things like that. So actually it is a really big impact on the environment.
So I'm sorry. So Myra, I have a quick question for you. So what does your local food scene look like in Chicago? I mean, like Mary, Sahana, and myself, we all live in, in the greater Detroit area, all traveling down to Eastern Market. Do you have something like that in your area?
Sure. So the local food movement is actually really taking off here in Chicago, especially like in the part of Chicago where I live. There, you can just walk down the street and a lot of people are advertising themselves as farm to table. There are a ton of, even just in like the coffee shops, there are a ton of like local coffee roasteries, a lot of local breweries. Everyone's really excited about it. And I think the really exciting thing about Grubbable being located in the Midwest is that there are these urban centers, but there are farms everywhere around. And so even the people that aren't actively seeking to grow the local food movement are already participating in it because they're already sourcing from farms that are right in their backyards, which is really exciting because it's already what they're doing. And if you just get them on board to the messaging as well, then we're all in this together already, kind of.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's so encouraging, right? And Chicago being such a big city, and it could be like the flag bearer for all of Midwest. If that becomes like a local food capital of United States, it'll be wonderful. We'll get there, I'm sure, because the local food movement is growing at the speed of light, and a lot of people out there are realizing the importance of it. All right. So now that we are done with all the serious talk, let's get to the fun part of it.
I'm ready.
Yeah, okay. So Christmas is just around the corner, and I know a lot of people get a lot of, stress and the jitters at this point because there's so much to get done. So we want to kind of help out a little bit, right? We want to come up with fun things to do that are right around you. They're all locally made, they're all natural, and how you can make use of that to make your life easy and have fun, right? Who doesn't want to have fun during Christmas? It's a magical time.
It is.
And it really, and for those of us who live in this belt, it really preps us for the harsh winter that's yet to come. So
I'm all about Christmas, as you can see here.
I know. I have to say, Marilla, I'm
it
so
was actually on my Christmas tree, and I just took it off for this particular session. So,
Marilla, you should also show the Snoopy art.
My little Snoopy back here, he's gained a little bit of weight, in my artistic viewpoint. But, he's willing to cut down a little bit during the holidays.
There you go. Yeah, through all the hacks that we discussed today. So
exactly.
Okay. So first things first, I want to talk about Christmas parties because that's because we usually have those parties happen before Christmas. So it usually happens during this week and the week next and all that. So let's talk about those. How does one go about utilizing their time during, a time like this where you're so busy trying to buy gifts, trying to think about all the people that you need to cover for gifts and pack and, make all the packaging look good. At the same time, you have all these Christmas parties to go to, or if you happen to be hosting one yourself. So what are the quick things that we can think of that's kind of healthy, easier, faster options for people to look at in terms of decorations, in terms of entertaining, in terms of, a bunch of hors d'oeuvres or something that you serve around this time, making sure that you feel good at the end of the day by hosting a good party that also served good quality, healthy food to some extent. So what are the few things that we can think of?
So one of my quick tips, like if I'm going to a party or hosting a party, I always like to do like a really large vegetable tray. So I'll take like some of our locally produced celery or, carrots, things like that. And instead of using like a heavy dip like ranch or some of the stuff that's, more mayonnaise based, I just switch it out with like a quick yogurt dip.
Ooh.
So I know if I bring it to the party that I'm going to eat this and maybe cut down on like, 50 calories, which works for me too. So
absolutely. Oh my God, yogurt dip. I love those.
Yeah, those are the best. I actually like them better than ranch and, things like that too.
Me too. Yeah. It just doesn't have that, eggy quality. Is that what it is? It's just something missing. But it just brings out the best flavor in it. I think I'm definitely going to try that for the next party that I go to. What about you guys, Mary and Myra? You're like twinning.
As far as appetizers go, I really like making those mini caprese salads with the little mozzarella balls and then with a basil leaf and a tomato, like a little cherry tomato.
Ooh.
All find at your...
Oh, that's always good. A little drizzle of balsamic vinegar there.
Balsamic.
Love it, love it. I made one last week, I think. Sent it to Mary just to make her jealous. Yeah. I do that all the time. I only put a few on Instagram, but most of them just end up going to Mary.
I want more on Instagram.
Yeah, I know. I don't get enough time. I should do more of those. Yeah.
Yeah, you cook so much.
Yeah. So, Mary, what ideas do you have?
Yeah, so this year I was thinking about making like a little appetizer tree to get into the season and have different layers, kind of like what we all talked about, maybe some meats like local charcuterie and cheeses, and also some vegetables on top, and might have to steal that yogurt recipe. But I also love hummus as a go-to dip, and I feel like that's always in season, or at least a favorite. And that's a good alternative, I think, to a baked brie. But baked brie is also so delicious and
I
sometimes
know, it is delicious.
and
Well, we can use some like local honey on the baked brie, and that's got to make it at least 1% healthier.
Yeah.
or at least supporting the local scene. And I mean, there's also so many different jams that are local in the area too that you could put inside the baked brie. And
Yeah. A big shout out to Gus and Gray.
yeah, that's great, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, I love those ideas. I was thinking of a bunch of them in terms of, so before I come out with ideas, I actually looked up a few things that are Michigan grown at this point that we can use for locally sourced. So obviously we have Christmas tree. It's no brainer. We are in that belt climatically. But asparagus, apples, cherries, blueberries, chestnuts.
I love
I
that.
love chestnuts.
Cheese, grapes and wine, maple syrup, of course, and local honey always, wherever you are. Peaches, pears, plums, pumpkins and squash, raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries. So basically all of this is Michigan made, and it's perfect holiday food, each one of them. Mm-hmm. So I think we can think of like a ton of appetizers, hors d'oeuvres for hosting a party. A few things that I was looking at, I saw a few recipes online and on YouTube where you can use asparagus really creatively, because asparagus, that spear shape, kind of gives you a bit of a Christmassy vibe to it. So instead of wrapping asparagus in bacon, I saw this. I mean, it's not a very healthy alternative, but it kind of looks very festive, because you take puff pastry and then you wrap it around it, and it looks like this puff pastry wrapped asparagus. It's kind of like green and white.
Ooh, that sounds
oh yeah, I know. Or rosemary is just so Christmas-like, right? I think you can use a lot of rosemary even for decorations. You can just put it somewhere, put some icing sugar on top of it. It looked like snow on Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I know, I was like so creative. I saw all these ideas and I kept thinking, why don't they naturally occur to me? It's just you have to always draw inspiration, I guess. So rosemary, potatoes roasted with rosemary, I think that's a good quick, I think Jamie Oliver has a really good recipe for that. Another thing that I was thinking about, and I saw this on Food Channel the other day, is how you can build a tree out of, like you can literally pin different things to a tree and then make it look like a Christmas tree. So instead of going for a savory kind, you can always make it, instead of going for a sweet kind, you can go savory and then put like, garlic knots and a few other things with rosemary hanging out and cranberries hanging out. It looks like a Christmas tree.
I wish someone would give me that gift.
I know, right?
Sounds like a great gift. I recently saw a recipe that I kind of wanted to try. A lot of people talk about boiling like potatoes or sweet potatoes or squash, but if you roast it, it actually brings out some of the more natural flavors and actually packs in a little bit of the vitamins and nutrients with it too.
Oh, wow.
I saw this recipe for roasted squash where you roast it and then at the end you throw on like some garlic and chili for like a kick at the end. And I'm all about spicy, so I think I'm going to give that a try.
Yeah. Oh my God. That sounds amazing. I'm a big butternut squash nut.
Me too. Oh.
Okay. But I do think that tree idea is great, but if there aren't too many people showing up, then I might be the one eating most of it.
Yeah.
So might not help with the watching your calories goal. Okay. So in terms of parties, I think Mary here is our, like in-house bartender. Like she comes up with all these really cool drinks and cocktails, and she was actually doing that on Saturday with her dad. So she has a few festive holiday drinks up her sleeve. What do you have for us, Mary?
Yeah, so I mean, what are you looking for? Just kidding. So, I mean, around the holidays, there's a lot of different fun drink opportunities, alcohol related or not. I personally like whiskey or bourbon in the winter. It's a little warmer. And just some local, I don't know about Chicago, but there's a lot of new distilleries in the area, in Michigan and Detroit. There's Two James and Detroit City Distillery and our Detroit Vodka, which is a part of the Grubbable Network. And Atwater as well has their own distillery, and they have vodka and bourbon. And so maybe this holiday season, sample with those and try to make some fun holiday drinks.
Those make for really good gift ideas too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Something people will use, right? You don't want it to go to waste. So some ideas that I had, and you guys can chime in too. I came up this weekend with a twist on a Manhattan. So Manhattans are usually whiskey or bourbon, and you can use vermouth, sweet or not, bitters. I usually like to use orange bitters, but there's all different kinds you can choose from. And just to add a little spice for the holiday season, I came up with, you can do cinnamon, add some sprinkles of cinnamon, just a couple of pinches, or even nutmeg, but I'm not the biggest nutmeg fan, so I don't know about you guys, but you can try the nutmeg. But it was really good. It added like a little spice to it almost in your throat, and cinnamon's really great for you as well, so killing two birds with one stone. Wow. And I also just had the pleasure of trying a hot toddy for the first time. Have you guys ever had them?
Yes. When I'm sick and healthy.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, people sort of usually associate them with being sick, but I went to Ashtabula outside of Geneva, Ohio a couple months ago, and this restaurant, it was a little local place. It was so cool, called Rennick's, and they had this whole hot toddy bar, and they have like a hot buttered rum one and a chai tea latte, which hot toddy, which I tried to create, and you can definitely do it with or without milk, or if you're into non-dairy, you can do almond or soy or coconut, but it's basically rum, hot water, honey, and then add a little chai, whether it's a tea bag or a mix, and then some milk, and it's so good. It's really warm for the holiday season.
That sounds really good. I have to agree with you, where I'm a Manhattan fan. I love like the bourbon and the whiskey, so I always go for drinks with that.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people like eggnog, which is traditionally made with bourbon.
Yeah. Have you ever had
eggnog? Who here has had eggnog?
Never.
I've had eggnog.
What do you think about it?
You know what? I don't mind it. I will say that it's traditionally pretty heavy. Like, there's a lot of cream, a lot of milk, a lot of sugar, a lot of egg yolks. But, I mean, you can, if you really love eggnog, you can cut down on that by making it yourself. I know they sell it, like, non-alcoholic in a container at the store. But you can use, you know, non-fat milk or a sugar substitute for it, or an egg substitute, or just egg whites, and still maybe add a little bit more bourbon into it. In that case, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Help me understand. Do the eggs get cooked? Like, does the alcohol cook the egg, or is it like raw?
I think it's just to like make it a little bit creamier and frothier. And people usually either love eggnog or hate it.
Yeah.
I've never tried it.
Me too. I've been too afraid to try, I think, because I've met the two extremes, you know, the one, like you said, they love it, and then the other folks who say, no, don't even try it. You will not like it. So I'm like too afraid.
You know, it's a bit heavy for me. I usually substitute, like, because eggnog is kind of like the traditional Christmas drink. Yeah. I like to substitute it with like spiked hot cider.
Yeah.
So I'll use like the cinnamon stick and a little bit of rum in it instead. And it actually cuts the calories in half too.
Yeah, so that was on my list.
Oh, all right, we're twinning.
Yeah, I actually love it. It's so good, hot or cold.
Oh my God. All of those sound so good. Oh.
Yeah.
Too bad there's no one to make them.
There's also so many local Christmas holiday beers being made right now.
Yeah. I know Frankenmuth has, you know, the brewery here has, because Frankenmuth is known for Christmas because it has Bronner's, which is like the biggest Christmas store, so it's very Christmassy around this time. It's a German town, and the brewery there typically has a lot of German style beer, but they also do like a few festive ones and pumpkin ales and.
I know Griffin Claw does one. I think it's a Christmas ale or a pumpkin ale.
Yeah, Atwater has one.
Atwater.
Bell's has a couple. I currently have a winter.
Oh, the winter white ale. That's one of my favorites.
Really good. It tastes a little piney.
Does a little bit of like the traditional cardamom spices.
But one of my favorites is, have you guys had Great Lakes Christmas Ale from Cleveland?
Yes.
I don't think I've had that one actually, but that's on my list.
It's so good. It's a little, Myra, wouldn't you say it's a little darker, but it's not like heavy?
Yeah, it's not like as heavy as like drinking, I don't know, like a stout or something, like that feeling afterwards. It's not like that.
It's like an amber.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
It's so good.
So maybe you should get those the next time you're in the land.
Yeah, they sell them here actually.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
400 miles. So
there you go.
All those sound great. I actually have a question on drinks. How do we make hot chocolate lighter? Because I love hot chocolate around this time.
Yeah, actually, if you don't mind me chiming in. So actually on our Grubbable blog, Olivia just contributed this amazing hot chocolate recipe, and it's so easy. There's a picture of it on our Facebook too, and it's just endangered species dark chocolate, unsweetened almond milk, and she puts in a little bit of cinnamon and peppermint extract, and it looks and sounds so good.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds amazing. Actually, that's something that we've done too. Like there was this one winter when we were students, Prashant and I, we fell sick, and instead of going to the doctor, we actually insulated our hot chocolates with either Irish cream or some sort of liquor, and that was our medicine. I swear to God, we were so we were actually like fit in 3 days. I really swear by insulated hot chocolates. But we didn't want to make it too fatty, so we actually used almond milk, coconut milk. And those sort of milks actually don't even break when you add an alcohol to it. Dairy typically tends to break a little bit when you add alcohol to it, but if you use almond milk or coconut milk, it doesn't even break. So you can actually add some Irish cream to it. Of course, Irish cream will not be local.
Well, I mean, definitely making hot chocolate at home is going to be healthier for you in general than going to Starbucks or Big B, where it's just laden with cream and like heavy chocolate. Like the endangered species.
A lot of sugar.
Yeah, exactly. And the endangered species chocolate is probably like over 85% cacao. So that's way better chocolate for you than what they're providing at Big B, I'm guessing.
I agree. And dark chocolate is just divine.
Way better. It's way better.
Way better. It has a ton of antioxidants, flavonoids. Right, Marilla?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Lots of antioxidants.
Oh my God, I love dark chocolate. So for those of you who really wants to do a lot of dark chocolate, there are other ways. There are all these tiny little hacks that you can take to make it just a little bit better. And also, this is something that I think mentioned even last time, but I think Marilla will agree, but it's always good to use other forms of sweeteners, right? Like natural sweetener, like agave syrup. Agave has a very low glycemic index. Local honey is really good for you in terms of allergy defense, right? Because it's made from local pollen, local flowers, right?
Yeah, I take a spoonful of that every day. It's great because it's sweet.
Yeah.
And it tastes good, and also prevents me from having some allergies, which I really don't have anyway. I'm just taking a spoonful of honey.
Yeah, first thing in the morning, apparently, if you take a little bit of honey with warm water, and if you add a little bit of lemon juice, it's apparently really good for you. Okay, all right. So what about sangria? I saw a bunch of different recipes for hosting parties with Christmas or festive themed, instead of a punch, maybe a sangria with the cranberries floating, rosemary
Yeah.
floating,
I
ton
did.
of fruits. Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Oh, I've never actually made sangria before, but I think it's pretty easy, and a lot of the fruits you mentioned are in season that would go in a sangria. And but I did see this punch with cranberry and rosemary with gin and champagne. So that's like a
Ooh.
free take. Forget the eggnog. It's
Yeah.
a little bit lighter. Gin supposedly is good for you, great for you because of how it's made. I need to do a little bit more research on that.
We'll just go with it.
Yeah.
No, but alcohol, I mean, we don't want to be one of those channels that subscribes or to drinking alcohol, but alcohol does have properties that help fight infection.
Absolutely, in moderation.
Yeah, in moderation.
Yeah. And Detroit City Distillery has a ton of different gins that you could use, so it's local.
What
Yeah,
else?
or you can, I know a lot of people like to drink wine. You can always cut down on some wine by making a spritzer and just adding a little bit of club soda into your white wine or your red wine.
Wow.
I'm not too much of a wine drinker myself. Like I said, I prefer bourbon and whiskey, but that could be a good alternative too.
Ooh, wow. That sounds yummy. Too many drinks to try.
Yeah.
Not enough holiday parties to make them.
I know, right? Not enough holiday parties. We should just, create one bunch of them just for ourselves, and then put them on the channel and say, "Hey, we did a Christmas party, local style." Okay, so I want to talk about a few quick fixes. Whether you have a party or not, you do end up entertaining quite a bit during Christmas, right? With family coming in, or you going into, someone else's house. So what are the quick things in our busy schedule that we can like whip up, whether for supper or for dessert? And the first thing that came to my mind was something that I did on for the Thanksgiving meal. And the photo is on Grubbable Instagram. It actually happened by accident. I wanted to make a pineapple upside down cake, but I chose to make cupcakes instead because there were a lot of people coming for the Thanksgiving dinner. So I thought this would be, cupcakes are more portion control, right? Like each one can take just one. But the pineapple slices that I had were slightly bigger than the base of the cupcake pan. So it kind of exploded in the oven. It tasted great, but it didn't look as appealing as pineapple upside down cake typically looks. So I promised I would get a dessert, so I couldn't think of something quick enough, and I finally realized that there was something that you can whip up. All you need is a can of condensed milk and a bag of dark chocolate chips, and you put the two together, heat it together. You don't even need extra sugar because the sugar from condensed milk is quite sugary. And then you don't need any extra fat. You just heat it, warm it up so it turns sticky, and put it in a cake pan with saran wrap, and just put it inside the fridge, or you can like put some walnuts on top of it, and then cut it into squares, and it just becomes this easy 5-minute chocolate fudge.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if all of you are in a rush, think of this next time. If you have like a can of condensed milk in your pantry, it just makes up for a really quick dessert.
Well, I don't usually keep condensed milk in my pantry, but I'm going to start just for holiday parties, but also everyday life with that recipe. Because who doesn't like fudge?
It's very easy. And it was the first time I tried it, and I did it with a suspicious mind. I just thought, let me just see. I doubt anything is going to come out of it, but it actually did. So it was just one of those accidental discoveries, I guess.
Can you add like walnuts to it or like marshmallows?
Yeah, I actually added walnuts on top of it and pressed it up a little bit before I put it into the fridge. So it kind of like set, the walnut were like stuck to the fudge. And a lot of people ended up thinking they were fudge brownies, but they were just basically no bake, easy chocolate fudge.
That sounds great. I'm going to try that. That's a good recipe.
Yeah, I think I should put that on grubbable.com as a blog. It's very easy.
2 ingredients, done.
All right, super. Okay, so I have another question. What about mincemeat pies? Is that something that's very traditional here?
We don't really do it.
My family.
Okay, because I've seen that in Britain, mincemeat pies are very traditional during Christmas, and I saw Nigella Lawson, of course, she is godsend for Christmas and all things chocolate. Her recipes are to die for, but she did one with cranberries in it, and she put all spices and she heats it up in port, all local, and then that was like a good take on something that is usually a little bit more rich by using cranberries and you know, a lot of natural sugar. She actually didn't add any sugar to it at all, so I thought that was a really good spin.
That sounds good.
It does. So what about the traditional cake, the fruit cake or the rum cake? What do you guys think about that? Is that something that anyone has tried it before?
I have tried the fruit cake. I don't make it.
Okay.
It's like traditionally kind of like nobody really likes fruit cake, but I actually personally do like it if it's well made, and you can find it, you know, probably at a lot of the local bakeries here in Detroit too. I'm sure Sister Pie actually has a fruit cake you can get too that I'm sure is amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Takes fruit cake to another level. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Because it's a fruit cake, I think I don't know. I've never had the traditional one. I do make one at home, and the one that I make is typically just a ton of different dry fruits and a few fresh fruits, and I don't add any sugar because I kind of just let the natural sugars work for me. But do you think that could work for Christmas as well, where we don't add any added sugar, just kind of rely on the natural sugars of the fruits itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of, you know, recipes call for more sugar than needed. Usually with any, you know, like muffin recipe or like you said, fruit cake or cake recipe, I probably, especially something that involves fruit, I usually cut down on the sugar pretty immensely if it calls for, I think 1 cup of sugar is a lot. So
yeah, it is a lot.
Yeah. And it's honestly, it tastes the same to me, if not better. Some things turn out to be too sweet with all that sugar.
Definitely. It can be overwhelming when there's too much sugar in it, or you're just tasting sugar. You can kind of blocks the other flavors.
Yeah. It may not be so traditional, but it doesn't hurt to kind of think of savory options, right? Because you said Sister Pie. Now, Sister Pie is, as the name suggests, it's a, you know, pie store, but their pies are not traditionally overly sweet. They're actually sweet and salty. They're very savory. They do rosemary cookies. They do thyme cookies. They kind of like experiment with flavors. I mean, it doesn't hurt to kind of try some of that stuff too, like experiment a little bit instead of just going the sugar route entirely.
Sister Pie relies a lot on the natural flavors and properties of their ingredients, which is nice. I mean, they're never masking anything with sugar or, you know, chocolate or things like that. With their unique recipes, I mean, they rely on their buckwheat, you know, chocolate chip cookies, or like you said, their lavender snickerdoodle. So it does bring unique flavor options in a healthier spin.
What about you, Myra? What do you think about savory? I know savory is not to everybody's liking.
Savory pies?
Or anything savory.
I mean, I like savory things. I don't know, like just as far as like in dessert type things, it's not generally the route I go.
Yeah.
But I am always down to try new things, and there are definitely things that I've tried that I've really enjoyed. So
yeah, there's a lot of crepe spots around here, and they do savory and sweet crepes. I must say I'm all about the savory crepe. The mushroom, the Swiss, the asparagus, as we talked about. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good Nutella crepe, but a savory one's equally as good to me too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you guys ever roasted chestnuts?
Yes.
Yes.
No, I really want to though.
I will say a pro tip for chestnut roasting is to make sure you like cut them open before you put them.
They don't explode.
Yeah.
They explode. That's what I've heard too. That's why I've actually never tried. But then when I saw that they're Michigan, like they're grown here in Michigan, I thought, okay, this Christmas, I think we should really try.
It's super easy. I mean, you cut an X into them. I mean, the first time I did it, I did have some explosions in the oven. So a little bit of screams coming from the living room. But yeah, you just cut an X in them. You throw them in, roast them at 425 for I think like between 10 and 18 minutes, depending on your oven. I don't even really add any salt to them or anything because I like them just how they are. But I'm sure you can add a lot of different spices to them too.
Mm.
So are they crunchy or?
They're actually, you know, they're soft. You really want to like play around with it because if you overcook them or undercook them, they're really hard to peel.
Okay.
So you do have to keep an eye on them while you're roasting them. But they should like kind of not explode, but kind of like rise a little bit. So you'll see that they're golden, and that's generally when they're done.
Ah. Oh, Mary and I, we should try and write about our experience.
And you can get them, if you live in Detroit, you can get them at Eastern Market. Usually you can probably get like 20 for $5. They're probably even less expensive if you get them right from the market.
That's a good tip. We should try that. Okay, quickly, last few things before we wrap up. What are some DIY food gifts that we can think of?
Well, you could get a couple of little local packaged things, like Eli Tea in Birmingham has all of their teas that they make. They sell them in little tins, and you can get different sizes. And I've done that in the past. They also sell the little things that you can put tea leaves in and stick in your cup, in your mug. And they have really fun and cool ones like that might fit a personality of someone you're looking for. So, and they'll help you pick out a tea flavor. So I've done that in the past, and people have really liked that. Their tea is so good too. And also,
we should put their information at the bottom.
Yeah, definitely, right here, Eli. And also, you could also do like homemade little gifts in terms of like cooking or baking something. I always have to beg my mom to do it because it's a little bit of a mess, but making like chocolate and caramel covered pretzels. And then you can package them, and you could either give everyone one or throw a bow around 3, and people always love those.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing this time. I'm making holiday truffles, chocolate truffles, and I make the truffle traditional, but I keep the coatings to be more festive. So it'll have like a toasted coconut, candy cane, gingerbread, spice, and what else? Chocolate sprinkles and cocoa powder. So then I put, a bunch of those in those treat boxes, and then I hand them out as, handmade, local and natural, healthy dessert. Healthy, well, yeah, there's no added sugar to any of those. Typically, it's just the inherent chocolate, and of course, let's not forget the cream.
I mean, dessert's dessert, like portion control.
Yeah.
Portion control, yeah.
I like Downtown Bon Bon Bon, the chocolate store downtown, which is a Grubbable partner. One of my, outside of the actual chocolate, I love the packaging that they do. You can do like an individual 4-pack for someone. You could do 16. If I had a preference, I'd do all of them. They have really unique flavors and like olive oil or goat cheese, and then some of the more traditional, chocolate flavors like caramel and things like that too. And they also do a pre-order that you can pick up in Detroit too for the Christmas season. That's super easy.
Oh, wow.
I love Bon Bon Bon. They're killing it. And the packaging's red, so it's like perfect for Christmas.
They do an amazing job on the packaging. I mean, what more could you want? Chocolate, great packaging, local, and it's a Grubbable partner.
True, actually. And a few other quick suggestions would be Mitten crates, because they're again a Grubbable partner, and they do all Michigan-made local vendors filled with all goodies, sweet and savory and salty and everything. It makes for a really good gift box, especially for your colleagues. And also Bundle does the same thing, but they're more all things Michigan, not just food related. And Grubbable also has a little holiday gift. We have a holiday promo code called Grubb Holidays. You can use that and get free months. Sorry, I just had to plug it in. I'm sorry. I had to do that.
There's this place in Ferndale called the Rust Belts, which is a local market where they sell not so much food items, but a lot of local art, a lot of local jewelry, soaps and candles. My brother recently had a baby, so I got him a onesie from there that said "Made in Detroit," which I think is funny. And then you can walk around down in Ferndale and, you know, go grab lunch at Green Space Cafe, or some of the other restaurants down there too.
Yeah, and speaking of Green Space Cafe, we are hoping to have Dr. Khan on one of these sometime in Jan or Feb or sometime next year, who's the owner of Green Space Cafe. He's a cardiologist, and he is, you know, a thought leader in eating right and eating healthy. So I'm sure when he joins us, he can educate us even more.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I know. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay. Last two thoughts before we wrap up. One, I know during holidays we get a lot of gifts and gift baskets which contain a lot of chocolates and a lot of sugar. So how do we combat that? How do we kind of try and work around, you know, those gifts? Because obviously we all want to like eat the stuff, but I think it really comes down to keeping count of how much you're eating, or maybe transforming some of those goodies into something else. What do you guys think?
Well, you can always, I mean, with the gift baskets and stuff, so many items come in those baskets.
Yeah.
And they're usually all prepackaged. So you could do a little bit of gift recycling if you had the chance, you know. Or, you know, it is a lot of it is about portion control and just trying to stay fit, you know, on top of eating all of this great stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I like to do is, like, whenever I get my mitten crate, I like to share it with people, so I'll specifically save it so it's not me just eating that one thing and it's spread between, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah. I know you do that because I get a bunch of those goodies every time from you. She saves them up, and you know, so sweet of her. Mary always thinks about everyone else. I know, she's too sweet. And Myra, what do you do?
I think sharing is a really good one. And then also because they're prepackaged, a lot of times they're going to last a long time. So you don't have to feel like you have to eat them, even though you might want to, in the first week of receiving a bunch of gifts.
Yeah.
So,
I like the fruit baskets. Sometimes people give fruit baskets instead of the candy. I'm all about an edible arrangement, you know, with the flowers that are cantaloupe, really.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And
I really feel guilty eating those. Absolutely.
yeah. And as Morella mentioned, Rust Belt, we don't necessarily have to give food gifts for Christmas, and we could support local artisans in the community. I've been burning this Bad Santa candle.
Ooh.
This Detroit, it actually blew out like immediately, but it smells really good. Yeah, Repurposed Detroit, they make great gifts. They also sell a ton of repurposed wood things, and it's all pretty inexpensive. I bought this at Above the Bar in Grosse Pointe, and then they also sell them at Desert Oasis downtown coffee shop on Grubbable, and they also have a website. I'll put it here. Check it out. They have a lot of great
and
flavors.
Puabic Pottery also has some cool gifts. I just bought my mom a tile from there because she collects tiles, and they do, not only do they make it, but they have a lot of local artists that kind of contribute to some of their artwork or pottery pieces as well.
Wow. That sounds very interesting. Yeah. It's very innovative too.
They have draft beer mugs or just regular beer mugs that are cool. So they do a great job, or chips and dip bowls.
Their art is so great there. It's really cool.
It is. They also host a lot of events too. Just, you know, you can hang out, see the pottery, and then have a drink or two. So
yeah, I was thinking about giving a class. They hold classes there, and I was thinking about getting one of my friends a class as a gift.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I know they do kid stuff too, and what kid wouldn't like playing with that?
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful. Those are really good gift ideas, guys. Wow. Look at you all thinking out of the box. That just reminds me, we're talking about all these amazing places. So Myra, next time you're in town, make sure you come with enough time so that we visit all of these places.
I know.
Because I haven't gone to half of them too, because I'm sitting here in Saginaw.
Yeah, let's make a weekend of it.
Absolutely do that. We can actually do the video cast in person.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last part, which is the most amazing part of every video cast, which is binge watching discussion. So I just want to go round robin with each one of you and ask what the latest shows that you watched and what do you guys think of it, and what are your recommendations for the holiday lull where each one of us can binge watch a ton of shows. So what do you guys think?
Well, I've kind of been into more of the heavy stuff recently. Like, I'm 2 episodes away from finishing Westworld, and I only started like a little over a week ago. So.
Oh, okay. I know Moira is a big Westworld fan. I started watching it from its first episode, and I don't want to be a downer, but I have worked in artificial intelligence and virtual reality industry. I come from tech, so a lot of things don't agree with my with my traditional engineering mindset. But it's a good show nonetheless. Though I don't want to kind of diss it. It's actually a lot of good actors.
I don't really know how I feel about it. I think I'll analyze that after I finish it. But
I've strategically waited for Westworld to end so I could spend an entire Sunday just watching 12 episodes of it, or how many ever there are. Yeah. But I'm only 2 episodes in. It's pretty interesting so far. I'm not really sure where this is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I finished it and I still don't know where it's going. So
I know. I think it's kind of nice that it's complicated, but they're not doing a good job connecting all of the portions together. And I think they should really reduce the length of every episode, because usually for a show like this, you should be on the at the edge of your seat. But most of the time, I'm just waiting for the episode to end, so I can move on with something else.
On a less heavy note, I did watch the 4 episodes of Gilmore Girls. I did.
Yeah, I knew Marilla would have watched it, and I knew I could watch Gilmore Girls with her.
Yes. I don't know how I felt about it. I mean, I'm not going to ruin it for everyone, but
yeah,
I'm true to the story.
I'm right there with you. I really enjoyed it because it was 10 years later, so it was wonderful.
So did I. And they actually don't look that much older,
They don't, actually. And what I loved the most was they kind of recreated the world of Stars Hollow all over again. And almost every character that was on the first, on the first set of shows actually reappeared on the revival, which I thought was amazing, that they got literally every cast member on the revival.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows, how big that show was, that everybody agreed to come in just for an episode or so. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, I don't want to be a downer, but there definitely seemed like, a few things were just so out of character for Rory. It's just whatever happened to Rory's character is what I kept thinking at the end of the whole.
Yeah, I think they kind of spun it, with the way that it ended, how she's kind of forced to grow up, even though she's 32 and kind of followed in, the footsteps of her mom. And either way, I wasn't super thrilled with it, but I was happy to get 4 episodes nonetheless.
Yeah, so. I know. It was fun. I think I really enjoyed it. I watched it over the Thanksgiving break. That's when it came out. And I thought it was a lot of fun. And I asked Mary and Myra if they watched it, and they said no. And I was really hoping that Marilla would have watched it.
I did.
Yeah, see? It's from our generation.
I watched it. I don't know, those revivals just through, a stereotype are disappointing usually, so.
Yeah, this wasn't as disappointing as revivals usually.
It was pretty good. I would say 3 of the 4 episodes were pretty solid.
They were, yeah.
But it was nice to have them back.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So I have...
wants to watch for Jess, apparently.
Oh, don't get me started.
Who doesn't want to watch for Jess? Gets better with time.
He has another show now, though. This Is Us.
Yeah.
He was on Ellen the other day, and he showed this new, I don't know, Marilla, have you tried it? You're the fit type amongst all of us, but he showed what is called as partner push-ups, where you actually have your partner completely lay flat on your back and then fisted push-ups.
Oh my God.
I wish I could tell you that I was fit enough to carry another person on my back, but I stick with just regular push-ups at the moment. If I get a little bit crazy, I'll move my hands closer together. But I'm really pleased to hear that he can do that. That really makes my dreams come true even further.
Maybe you could be the person lying on his back.
I was hoping so, but Ellen didn't call me, so.
So maybe after this show, we'll
I have
station or something. And
absolutely.
All I want to do is just dance with her.
I know, me too. I desperately want tickets to her show. Maybe she's watching this.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Yeah.
I'll tag her.
So right. I have one last question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite Christmas movie? Ooh, okay, I'll start. Mine is definitely Home Alone.
I was going to say, yeah.
I love Home Alone. I think I've seen it probably over 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Recently on my chalkboard, last year, I did Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal. But I thought I'd switch it up this year.
I loved it. It's beautiful. Home Alone, yeah, for sure. What about you, Mary?
I would say in terms of like classics with my sisters and I, we always loved White Christmas, like with Bing Crosby and the sister song. I used to dress up and sing to it. But I also really like. I also like Home Alone. Yeah, and have you guys seen The Holiday?
Oh, that's a good one with Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, and what's that British one? Is it a lot like?
That's my favorite. Bridget Jones' Diary.
Oh no, that's good too.
Oh, Love Actually.
Yeah, is it Love Actually? Yeah, Love Actually.
Yeah.
That's a really good movie.
Yeah, they wear a lot of turtlenecks in that movie.
They do.
I love turtlenecks, so.
That's a good observation.
I do too. I like turtlenecks, and I somehow believe that someday, somewhere Steve Jobs will bless us, and then we'll grow up to become Steve Jobs. So
yeah. I was Steve Jobs for Halloween.
You really? Where's the picture?
Yeah, you should send us that picture. We'll post it.
Oh, well, the only picture I have is a really low quality photo, but I'll still send it to you if you want to see it.
I mean, we want to see it regardless.
Yeah, we want to see it. I think my favorite would be Bridget Jones's Diary. I think
that's a good one.
I can watch it no matter how many times, and of course Home Alone. But I think I've grown out of Home Alone now, so Bridget Jones's Diary would definitely be my.
I apparently haven't, but I also like Christmas Vacation. That one's a favorite for mine too.
Yeah, that's good.
I love, as far as classics go, Miracle on 34th Street. I really love that one.
Yeah.
And then I also, it's really dumb, but I really love the Jim Carrey Grinch.
Oh, I do.
It's a good one.
Yeah. I consistently laugh every time. So
it is funny.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I agree. And I'll always like to read A Christmas Carol around this time. I don't know.
That's a classic.
It's a classic for sure, yeah. And I think Dickens always this world that Dickens creates is just so. I would like to be part of that world. It's just that fantasy world. All right, so this was great. I loved it. I think we talked so much today, and I'm so glad to say that I was not the only one talking this time. Yeah. Also, it started off like that, but I'm glad we're ending with everyone chiming in, everyone talking so much. I think the next time we meet would be in Jan, and I can easily say that the theme for that video cast would be New Year's resolution and how to lose those extra 5 pounds that you gained during the holidays.
Perfect.
So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. But for the rest of you guys, have a lovely, lovely holiday break. Merry Christmas. Enjoy. Stay safe. Stay warm. And have a beautiful New Year's, and hope 2017 is even more rocking for each one of us. And please take a ton of pictures of everything that you make and eat and drink during the holidays. Each one of us will share it on Grubbable, and let's live Christmas healthy, happy, and in Grubbable style. What do you guys say?
Sounds great.
I'm right there with you.
Yay! I wish we had one of those soundtracks, ting, 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 right now at this point. It would be perfect. But yeah, happy holidays from the Grubb team. Grubb well, and use Grubb Holidays as a promo code. Get a lot of free months ahead of you and really have a ton of fun.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. That was fun.
Yay! All right, see you all.
Happy holidays. See you guys.
Happy holidays.